Hey guys, welcome back to We Watched a Movie. I am Mike, and this is a Scream video. It's been a great week to be a Scream fan. It's been an even better week to be a Stu Truther Scream fan. We just did 2 live streams last night talking about all this stuff that's going on in this video today. So check those out. I'll put them at the end of this video. This is an intro to the video I'm filming after I already made the video. In the video I originally made, it was talking about how Stu and Roman were going to come back and the 7 different ways that we can make that happen. They're going to make that happen for us. The most plausible ways that I can think of that we thought of last night in the live chat together, these are the 7 plausible ways I think that it can happen. But I'm adding an addendum to the rest of this video. And that's because I just read from Daniel Rickman, who's a Hollywood insider, that, and he knows his Scream very well, that he's hearing Billy Loomis, old Skeet Skeet, is going to come back as well. So I just want to add that layer into this video as well. When we talk about it, we're going to talk at one point about the new nightmare element of this, and I can't remember if I say it in the video or not, but if I didn't say it then, I'm saying it now. If the new nightmare element of this situation comes to pass, which I'll explain if you don't know what that is in the video, we will start to see more and more of these announcements, more and more people coming back without them telling us why. It's going to leave us all wondering what's going on. How is this possible? Dead people coming back to life. And then they're going to announce, hey, this is the new nightmare version of it, which is basically real life Scream where a killer is coming after the actors. So I just want to say that as a preface to this video. We can also probably include old Skeet Skeet in this video now too. Enjoy. Number 1, and the worst one in my opinion, this would be the absolute worst case scenario, is that if it's a flashback sequence. Well, one of the worst case scenarios. The flashback sequence would be, you know, I want him to still be alive. I want him to have a character in the movie. I want the cult of Stu, the whole thing. I want all of it. Give it all to me. There is a very good chance this is just a flashback sequence that ties into the story Kevin Williamson wrote somehow. And we have to deal with that. That's a way that they could bring back Stu and Roman, whether it's flashbacks to in Sydney's mind about the things that happened, or it ties into the twist. Just bringing him back, maybe de-aging him a little bit. He still looks great for his age. De-aging both of them a little bit and using them for a flashback sequence is a very viable option that could be the case here, unfortunately. Number 2, the meta angle of Scream 7 relying on an AI plot. Now, this did not come from me. This came from some also awesome people, including Mary in our live stream, that this plot could be tied deeply to an AI subplot. You know, all the Scream movies, they always say something about film and the current landscape. In most cases, they do. So we know the story's going to circle around Sydney. It would make a lot of sense if the plot tied into AI and Ghostface was using all of these past killers, haunting her through videos that look so realistic. And in this case, it would be realistic. It would literally be Matthew Lillard sending her like videos as Stu, messing with her. It just ties so well into the meta angle of Scream that could totally be what's going on here. And in that case, you could bring back all of the killers, Timothy Olyphant, you name it, which would be fun. I want Stu to be alive, and we'll get to that point, but like that would be fun. And it would be a fun way that we could see Stu being Stu Macher from the 90s that we remember specifically. So that would be pretty damn fun. And also they could bring back Dewey for that. David Arquette, you know, just messing with him. He's not one of the killers, but if they recreated him, you get the idea. Anything is possible. Everybody's a suspect. Number 3, my personal favorite, Stu is actually still alive. Now, I won't go into it. I've explained it in 100 different videos exactly how they could have done this. Could have faked his death, and he could still be hiding away somewhere. Look, what we do know is that Stu's not in jail somewhere. He's not in a mental ward somewhere, because they've mentioned him in the other movies as being presumably dead. So if he was in jail or something like that, they would have mentioned it by now in the franchise. So we know it's one of 2 things. Either he's still dead or he's back to life for the most part. And that is my favorite current idea for this. If he's still alive, if they faked his death, there's so many things you could do there. I would love to see them tied into a cult of Stu like they were going to do with Scream 3, but the cult was actually some of the people that were doing the killings in Scream 5 and whatnot. We've talked about it all, but Stu actually still being alive is my personal favorite. And again, people are asking, why would you announce this now? That's the thing that makes you think it's probably just a flashback or something smaller. Otherwise, they would at least try to keep it secret. But I'm holding out hope, and the reason I'm holding out hope is because these days, studios just don't care. I mean, Companion, what we just saw, they spoil anything and everything in the trailers, anything they have to do to get people in the seats. And also, you gotta think, if anybody smells Matthew Lillard's scent within, and everybody knows where Scream's filming, there's people taking pictures of the sets every day, there's no way to get Matthew Lillard in this movie in a main role and not have it be leaked by one of these Scream scoopers somewhere. Just no way. And everybody's dying to get a scoop. You know what I mean? That could also be a subtext to a Scream movie, but it would be impossible to keep that hidden if he's in the film for more than one scene, one location. Just absolutely. You'd have to put a bag over his head and drive him straight there, and still someone would probably leak that shit. So yeah, I just don't think it'd be possible. That's what I'm hoping for as a Stu Truther, that that's the reason they announced it. But that's what I'm hoping, is that he is back for real. Cult of Stu, fake death, the whole 9 yards. And by the way, this is the one on this list that would not count for Roman as well. Roman could not come back from the dead because Roman got shot in between the fucking eyes. And we know it's not a twin brother scenario because they're not going to bring back twins for both Stu and Roman. That would be silly. So that's out as well. But yeah, this is the only way that Roman can't come back. Now, they could have Stu be back for real. And them both being casted doesn't mean Stu's not still alive, because it makes sense that if Stu is still alive and he's like, surprise, Sydney, and you know, he's back and he's doing his whole monologue explaining how they faked his death. Who else has faked their death before? Roman Bridges has faked his death before. So it makes so much sense. And we know that he was involved with Billy and Stu killing Maureen Prescott, that hoe who caused all of this. And you can easily imagine them flashing back to the faking of his death at the end of the events of Scream, and Roman being involved in it somehow, which would explain him being cast, but Stu being still alive. That's like best case scenario for me. Get it up! Number 4. This one's, it's a fun idea, but I also hate it because I just want Stu back, but a voice modulator. They literally, this would be so mean. I don't think this is the case because it would be so fucking mean for them to do this to us. If all these castings were literally the killer breaks out. Again, Scream 5 and 6 went, 5 went a little bit off 1, 6 went a little bit off 2. A lot of people suspected for a long time that 7 will have parallels to Scream 3. One of the ways they could do that is, you remember the voice modulator from Scream 3, when Ghostface would use it and he'd be anybody's voice. They could be just doing that. They could be just having them record lines as themselves, and the killer could be talking, messing with Sydney, doing Stu's voice and whatever, and they could just have Matthew Lillard recording those lines. Pretty disappointing scenario. Don't think that's what it is, but it's still a possibility. Number 5, and this one's pretty fun. Where are you gonna load this, Sydney? Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun. The new Nightmare angle. Scream 7, Nightmare on Elm Street 7. Kevin Williamson directing this. The closest tie to Wes Craven there is, coming to direct his first Scream movie. And what better way to make an ode to Wes Craven than in the 7th film in the Scream franchise, do what Wes Craven did with New Nightmare. And if you don't know what happened in New Nightmare, it was basically this. Freddy Krueger was a real-life entity who was haunting the dreams of the actors who were in the actual movies. Everybody who had played an actor in the movies before was playing themselves. Heather Langenkamp was herself. Robert Englund was himself. Freddy Krueger was basically in the real world. Now, that was a really hard thing to sell and make believable, and he still did a pretty darn good job of it in New Nightmare. Most people consider that one of the better entries in the franchise. It'd be so much easier to do with Scream. We're just talking about a real-life killer here. We've seen how many cuckoo wacko weirdos there are about Scream on the internet. It would make total sense if somebody was like, hey, this person is taking things into their own hands. They're going to make their own Scream movie, and they're killing off the actual actors in the Scream franchise. Then you could bring back Matthew Lillard. You could bring back Roman Bridges. You could bring back old Skeet. You could bring back Cotton Weary. You could bring back Drew Barrymore. You can bring back everybody, and we won't know who the killer was. By the way, the killer could also be any of those people. Timothy Olyphant, Drew Barrymore, any of them. Laurie Metcalf. Such a fun idea. Would so fucking work, and it would so work right now for this franchise. And I really think that might be what's going on right now, because then that would make sense as to why they're going ahead and telling us all these casting. There's no spoilers because everyone's coming back out of fucking portals like goddamn No Way Home Spider-Man. I think it could happen, and I think it would be amazing. And you know what? In Scream 8, if you wanted to, you could just go right back to the fictional series. You could. Scream has the nutsack to do things like this, and it's been a while. I love 5 and 6. It's been a while since they've done anything wild and crazy kids and really tried to shake the foundation of horror. I think they could do it again. Number 6, this angle's not quite as fun, but the found footage angle. We know that they brought Randy back for Scream 3 on video cassette, talking about the rules for the new movie. It was really, really smart the way that they handled that and did that, and it was fun for everyone. By the way, Randy's another person who could come back if they do some of these angles. But yeah, you could bring back Stu and Roman this way by just having found footage of them talking about planning the murder of Maureen Prescott, whatever you want to do. Someone could find some old tapes of these guys, messing around when they were teenagers before their deaths, and it could tie into the plot somehow. So that's another way they could be back. Not that fun, but it's something. And number 7, and the final reason I could possibly think of for this, is a dream sequence or someone else's psychosis. I take it back. Flashback sequence is not the worst option. This is the worst option. If Sydney has a bad dream involving Stu or something like that, or someone's psychosis, such as Sam, a lot of people call Billy Ghost Billy. That doesn't make any sense at all. He was never a ghost. He was just in her mind because he was her dad. But yeah, if they bring back Stu that way, doing that with Billy once, I don't think they would do that with anybody else again. That was something that was specific to Melissa Barrera's character, because she was dealing with psychotic issues because she was Billy's child. Not everybody's going to have that kind of vivid hallucination of someone that they once knew. So I definitely don't think it's going to be someone's psychosis, but I also a dream sequence is just so fucking weak, man. So fucking weak. And that's the kind of thing if it was a dream sequence or just a short little moment like that, I don't think they would announce it. I could be wrong, but I really don't think they would, because you could get away with that. You could get Stu and Roman and whoever else into the studio for just a couple minutes of filming, or just a couple minutes of screen time for a day without anyone knowing it. So it doesn't seem like something you would have to announce. And why set everyone up for a letdown by announcing it without announcing it's a small part and then letting everybody down? I don't think that's it, but it's definitely the worst case scenario. And those, my friends, are my 7 ideas for how we could bring back Stu and Roman, which we're fucking doing. Holy shit, it's happening. Can you believe it? I can taste it. It smells so good. There are so many different verbs happening. That's how excited I am. Oh my God. It's going to pop up in the last reel somewhere. Eyes gouged out. I love your fucking faces. Guys, check out those live streams at the end of this video. Companion video review coming. If you're not subscribed, and a lot of you aren't, surprisingly, if you look at the numbers versus who subscribed and whatnot, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you, as well as all your Scream updates from now through Scream fucking 7. Stu is back, bitch!